in enterprise networks. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why it is mostly used, how to access this firewall, how to configure basic settings on the firewall. Stay tuned on Netlabs Hub as we move together. So first of all, this is a topology that I have used here. This is the firewall. This is the firewall. This is the switch. This is the administrator. It will provide the access to this firewall through this port. Then these are the computers that will get the services from the firewall. So before that, in GNS3, majority of the devices are off when you first use them. So to power them off, I'm going to select all of them that way. Then I power them. Once they are powered, I'm going to show you how to access this firewall both in the command prompt or CLI command line interface, or also using the web. First of all, these are the basic configuration that we can do on the firewall. By default, it has a username, admin, then there is no password. So it will prompt to set a new password. Remember that in a network, a device should have a host name, of which it is good for you to set the host name. Then I'll show you how to configure the LAN interface, and the WAN. So you right click on the firewall, it will give you the console. Once it gives you the console, let me make it bigger for you to see. Give it 18. So now you can see the firewall. The username is admin, then password is empty, admin, then admin. So you see, I had already set the host name, but we can set a new host name. Config. This is the user mode. This is the user mode. You can do less on this mode. These are the things you can do on this file at this mode. To move to global configuration mode, config system global. These are the things that can be done on the global. So this is like a privilege mode in Cisco. So we set the host name, then Netlabs _ FortiGate. You see, remember I have configured it here, but it has not changed here because this configuration here, it's not saved. Still it is running in the running configuration file. So for me to save, in FortiGate we use the word end to exit that mode and save. So the moment I type end, it will change. It means I have now saved it. Okay, so that's how to access the firewall using the CLI. But also for you to move to the web, you have to know the IP address that the firewall is functioning on. So there is a command that helps you to know that a particular address, that is diagnose IP address list. So you see, this address, it is given automatically by the server here. So this is the server. So this server, GNS3 virtual machine, is giving the IP address to the management interface from this particular segment here. So once you confirm that this is the IP address, that is 17, you come and test the connectivity to that IP address. You see it is reachable. So you will use this IP address to access it in the browser. 192, you see, you enter the password, then the username, so let me reboot it to check the file system. So once I reboot it, you can see it is rebooting. So once it reboots, this one will be lost. You see it is restarting. So it will restart, and then this particular connection in the PuTTY, it will be lost. Let me check if at all it has finished still. So I'm going to configure this step. I'm done. So in this section, I'm not going to configure the WAN. I do not have the interface facing the internet, but I have the interface facing the LAN. So I'm going to configure this. I'm going to set a static IP. I'm also going to allow ping and all these particular services on this interface. After there, firewall policies are only used if at all you are giving a route either from LAN to the internet or from LAN to the demilitarized zone. So in this case, this is a basic setup. I'm just going to do a few things. I'm going to configure this firewall as DHCP server to provide IP addresses to this computer, and also to configure the LAN interface. There is no ISP interface on this matter, so it is still booting. I can log in, and then so once it is booting, let me configure the LAN interface. Config system interface, edit port 2, set description, LAN interface, then set mode static. So you see this describes the interface. This one, it's like you are moving to port 2. That is the port onto which the LAN is anchored on. Then set IP. For you to configure anything in FortiGate firewall, you use the word set. Set IP address is 192.168. Is it that 30.1/24? So this is the gateway that the internal computers will use this to access the firewall. So on this, set allow ping telnet SSH HTTP. So it means this command allows you can ping the firewall on this interface using this IP. You can telnet, you can SSH using this IP. You can also access the browser using that. So after there, you end. The moment you end and show config, then we check port 2. You see, these are the things I have configured on port 2. Set IP address, allowed this, described this, then did this. So it has finished restarting. So let me show you the features present in the FortiGate firewall. So this is the dashboard. You can see the dashboard. This is the FortiGate license. So this is just being a simulation. It will not show you the valid license. So we've got the dashboard, the network section, and the policy and objects, security profiles, VPN, user authentication, the system, then security fabrics, then logout. So here we are on the dashboard. The dashboard shows system information, the licenses, security fabric, FortiGate cloud. If you buy a new gadget, you will have this particular enabled. This FortiGate cloud, they will give you a permission to link to their cloud. And this is the statistics, how the resources are being used. Already my CPU is used 9% and it is changing. The RAM, you see. So that is it. If we go to the network has this capability. On the network, it manages the interface, the domain name system, the packet capture, the software-defined wide area networks, static routes, policy routes, then dynamic configuration protocol, dynamic protocols, dynamic routing protocols. So that is the network section. So for example, for me to configure this interface here, this port 2, another alternative, I could have just come on the interfaces, network, then interface, then click on this. I give it alias name LAN, then I give it the manual IP I type here, but I had already done this using the CLI, then allowed this. So I can give it this, how to configure the DHCP server now. So after you just enable the server and then edit here the range, then okay. Once you do that, this interface, the firewall will act as a DHCP server to provide IP address on these particular computers. We can just check. You see, DORA. The moment you see DORA, it is successful. It means the computer was able to discover the server on the network. Then the server was able to offer upon the request of the client. So you see, when we ping, you see, we are able to ping the gateway. So computers can receive IP from the server. So that's one of the feature. Let me explain the other section. So this is the network section. The policy and objects, it deals with the majority of the firewall policies. The IP version 4 denial of service policy, the addresses, the internet service database, then the services. You can click on the services. These are the services. You see, schedules. You can see the schedules. You can schedule maybe a certain activity to a network to happen to be available on weekdays but not on Sunday, because the organization will not be on weekend. You can also set all this. You can see. Then virtual IP. This is for redundancy. You can create your virtual IPs here. IP pools. You can also create pools here for your own network or different LANs that you have. So this security, it contains security profiles, how you manage antivirus, web filtering, video filtering. You can at least configure the firewall to filter certain type of video and DNS. So most of these cybersecurity purposes or system administration on the network, they use this section. So VPN, this is how you can configure the VPNs, types of VPN on the firewall. If your firewall is going to act as a VPN, but if it is going to act as a security profile or a security gadget, so this is the the tab that you are going to work most of the time. Then there is authentication. There are multiple methods of authenticating. You can do through LDAP server, radius server, or single sign-on, and other authentication settings, as you can see here. So there are logs. Remember everything that happens on a network device. There are some of the replica traces or the logs that are stored. One, to help in troubleshooting and also for security purposes. You can trace when and how somebody accessed the device, what he did, and how he maneuvered around that. So these are the features of the FortiGate firewall. So with the time, I'm going to do projects to show you how different services are done or how this firewall is configured. So as you can see here, I have managed to configure this firewall as DHCP server to provide IP address automatic to these computers. As you can see, it is able to get this IP 101 because I had conditioned the server to start from 100. You can see here. You can see I conditioned the server to start from 100, you see, and here it is giving me what? You see, this is giving me 100, then this is giving me what? 101. So this is working. Thank you so much. If you feel this has helped you so much, feel free to subscribe to Netlabs Hub for more videos in the coming days. Thank you.